Hey there folks, Pliskin by 51mm, and today I'm going to be doing a video in response to Andy Prariedog. Now I meant to do this video a few days ago, but a lot of crap happened in regards to like the house. The furnace went off, and then all the little portable heaters that we bought that needed plugged into the wall, or room heaters, they was pulling too much wattage, and then they'd start knocking the power out. So that was a turbulent like 2 days. Went without internet for a while, and it got colder than a witch's tit in Iowa, and we had to change things up just so it wouldn't get cold. So it's been a crazy weekend. But I figured real quick I'd do this video that I meant to do a few days ago in response to Andy Prariedog. And he asked in that video where I was doing that book review. I was shooting at nighttime, and I had the CZ and the M14A4 here. And I was using the laser and light it in darkness. And he asked, how do I zero the lasers on them? Now, I'm going to be blunt. I've not done a video on how to do it, but how I do zero the lasers on my firearms. I only have 3 firearms that have lasers, and that is the SPO1 here, the CZ75 SPO1, my M14A4, and then my M70 ZPAP. Both the M14A4 and the ZPAP have been pursed lasers. The M14A4 has the green pursed 4 laser, and my phone's going off. My M14A4 has the green pursed, and then my M70 ZPAP has a red pursed. For the AK and the CZ75 SPO1, I have done very basic zeroing of the lasers, and essentially what that means is, and I apologize for background noise, my sister's playing Xbox with her friend, but what I do is I get, for the pistol, I have that green laser zeroed to the front sight of my CZ75 SPO1. And what I do is I get from one side of the house, because where we're at, this wall over here, you can't see it, and that wall in that room back there, that spans the whole length of the house. So what I do is I get up and I zero that laser, standing as far back to that wall as I can in there, while aiming at this wall in here. And I take the windage, as you can see here on this Olight Balder Pro 1350. It has a windage screw right there. Well, that's technically elevation, and the windage one is like right there. And while aiming from one wall to the other, I zero that laser. I turn that laser with the little Allen wrench screw that it was that it came with, this Olight Balder Pro. Although you can use any little Allen wrench, it's like the smallest one that you can get. I forget the exact like dimensions. Oh cool, you can see the beam. But the screw, you take that and then you just zero and laser it, and move it on the windage and elevation until it gets to the front sight post. And then that covers, in my opinion, I do that. I've done that with the AK and the CZ75 SPO1, because I take from one side of the house to the other, like for a home defense scenario, as being like a possible longest range that you would have to engage somebody. And for inside a house, that would be preferable. And then I go out to the range and then just redefine it at like say 10 yards, 20 yards, something like that. I think with the M70, because I did the same thing with the M70 ZPAP. Went from that wall to this wall, and then just sat there and moved that red pursed laser until it was in line with the M70's front sight. But I think I have since went to the range and had that re-zeroed out to 50 yards because it's a longer range gun. But I use the wall to wall as a kind of like a baseline to start with. Just that way when you get to the range, the laser's already like in line with the front sight post. And then you get to the range and then you zero it. You add refinements to it until you get where you like it. With the CZ75 SP01, it's pretty much dead on. I really don't need to mess with this no more than what I have. I mean, where it's at's good enough. Because where it is, like even when I was shooting out there at my grandma's the other day, shooting at that target, like anytime you've seen that green laser go on the target, I was putting a bullet right there where that goes. So that's perfect for a handgun. The M14A4 is a little different. The approach that I took with it's a whole lot different. This is the only one that I have zeroed out to 100 yards. And when I started zeroing the laser on this bad boy, I'm going to move my sling around. I apologize for stopping and all that. My sinuses are acting a fool. But this is the only one I have zeroed out to 100 yards, and I have got this laser in line with the Sig Tango MSR. The reason I have this out to a lot further distance than say the M70 is because this rifle, after having added the Sig Tango MSR, this rifle's potential for distance combat increased a lot. Whereas the M70 ZPAP's more of a CQB rifle through and through. This one is a CQB rifle with the potential to have distance, because I have a 1:6 power optic on it now. But when I first got the purse on this, I did indeed zero it to the front sight like I did the other ones, and then after I got scoped, the laser is now in line with the optic on the firearm. And the reason I emphasize front sight on the other two and not optic is because the front sight, once you get your irons zeroed, you know, that kind of becomes like a in line with the bore zero. And if you put your pursed or your any type of laser in line with the front sight, well, that's cool, you can see the beam, but you get this module, the laser, in line with the front sight, that's kind of like a zero that will always be, you know. And that's why with the other two, with the purse, or with the Olight Balder Pro on the CZ75, why I did that, because of course it's a handgun, I ain't gonna put no optics on this, but with the rifles as well, a zero to the front sight. That way it's like, you know for a fact that that's always going to be right on the money at closer distances. Because really at long distance you really wouldn't want to use a laser, because it'd give you away, especially a visible laser. But having the option there for distance with this bad boy is cool too, because lasers kind of give an intimidation factor too, if you think about it, because you see that beam come zooming by and you know that that's pointed at you and you're gonna get screwed. But that's been my whole going about with the lasers on firearms. And I will take back what I said earlier. I have 4 firearms that have lasers, because I forgot that I put an Olight Balder Pro on my St. Victor. I just haven't got it zeroed yet, and when I do zero it, I will do what I've done here and show you guys, because I need to the rails on it keep coming loose on the M-Lock handguard. So we'll have to get that figured out. I'm going to blue Loctite them. And that's another thing too, when it comes to having your laser off the side like this. And I had a guy tell me a few months ago that, like, you know, if you have it like this on the side, this rail was coming loose on the M14. I blue Loctited the screws on the rail, and it has not budged since. So if you're going to have a laser off the side like this, just be sure to blue Loctite the rail, or make sure the rail is integral, because your laser will come loose from recoil like this one was doing. So that's how I zero my lasers. It depends a lot too on what you are wanting your firearm to do. Kind of like the philosophy of use and how you set it up from the word go. If it's going to be a long range gun and you're wanting to run a laser on it, well, you want that laser to be sighted in for long distance. And if you have a gun that is, you know, a closer range firearm, like say my pistol, my M70, or even a shotgun, you'd want that to reflect at a closer distance, because even though you are at the laser, you know, I look at lasers as backup, not primary. And it's good to get used to with your laser, used to it when you shoot. I mean, I've done several drills where I just point the laser at the wall, or at a target, not a wall, a target, and pull the trigger. It's unloaded, by the way. And just aim with the laser and see if what I'm doing reflects downrange, to make sure that the point of impact of your bullets is actually going where that laser is. That's the other part as well. For closer range firearms like the pistol, I mean, there is some leeway there. Just having it to where you are in the vicinity of the target and the bullet hits near or around is just as good, in my opinion. But it all comes down to what you are wanting the firearm to do when you turn that laser on, or at what distance you want that laser to be effective. Like I said, for long distance guns, might be helpful to have that laser, you know, be sighted in at a longer distance, like I did with this bad boy. But for closer range guns, like my CZ75 SP01 and my M70 Z-Pap and the St. Victor, being up close is better too, or would be more efficient, because those guns are set up for closer distance than, say, this. And that's pretty much how I do it though. But every time I get a laser on a firearm, I always start with the wall-to-wall type thing, go from one side of the house to the other, and get that laser zero to the front sight, so that way when you get to the range, it's already kind of like in a good position to start with, because you wouldn't want to get to the range and have your laser be like way off here from where you're aiming, you know. So that, and two, the wall-to-wall thing, I think I came up with that because that would be like the furthest engagement distance you'd have to go with somebody breaking into your house. Like say somebody breaks in and you see them, like you're on one side of the house and you can see them all the way like to the other. But you know, that laser, say you ain't got time to aim with the front sight and you have to flip that laser on, well, at least you know that laser is in line with the front sight at that distance. So basically the laser, if it's on a home intruder, it is giving you a greater margin of success than error if you had to rely on just the laser to point and shoot, instead of, like, say, take your time and get that front sight up. You may not have time, you know. It might be one of those moments where you're like, oh, you know, I have to get the laser and then start shooting. Get the laser on, then start shooting. So that's how I do it. But always go to the range and refine the laser. Like, don't just use the wall-to-wall thing. I get that. Like I said, that's just to get it started, to get the idea of, like, you know, the laser. And area where you can work with it and then go to the range and refine it. And and then I'll reiterate for like the third time, depends a lot on what you're wanting the gun to do. So anyway, I hope this video helped you out, man. And anybody else who watched, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you are new. Check out my older videos. And I've got more stuff in the works. I'm going to be having some fun here before long, so be sure to stay tuned. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Peace.